Greetings everyone, Wayne Skellington is here to read Bunnicula's Nighty Nightmare. Always remember, if you want to follow along, to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. Now I think that the little zookeeper will be perfect to join us for today's adventure. Now that the little zookeeper is here, let's jump in. Nighty Nightmare. My legs ache from walking. I never realized just how big the woods were on this side of Boggy Lake. Was Dog trying to wear us down so that when we finally stopped to sleep, there would be no fear of us waking until it was all over? I tried not to think such thoughts, but I couldn't help myself. With each step we took, with each utterance Chester made about the spirits of evil being let loose in the night, with each reflection of the moon I caught in Dog's eyes, I wondered and wondered and I wondered. What do you suppose is happening to the Monroes? I asked at one point. Chester just shook his head darkly, and I didn't ask again. After a time, he began telling stories of St. George's Day, not to frighten us, he assured me under his breath, but to check out Dog's reactions. There were none that were noticeable. Howie, seeing the lack of response in Dog, reacted not out of fear but delight. Tell us more, he'd say after Chester was finished with each tale of twilight terror, and so Chester would regale us with another, and another, until it is near, he said, and he fell silent. I believe he was referring to the midnight hour, but Dog interpreted his remark differently. Yep, Dog said, we're going in the right direction this time. I can feel it. Pretty soon we'll be there. I can't wait, Howie squealed enthusiastically, as if he'd been waiting for 3 minutes rather than 3 hours. Dog sniffed at the ground. If we just follow the bed of the stream, he said, we'll be there right quick. We walked now on muddy ground, our paws sticky with each step, covered with cockleburrs and mud. I was beyond the point of caring, wanting only to stop and rest, stop and sleep for the night, even if it meant the worst. I was beginning to nod off when I heard Howie's excited voice cry out, Look there in the mud. Chester, Dog, and I rushed to Howie's side. There were fresh footprints. These prints, the prints of darkness, Howie said ominously. They were made by people, Dog said. I wonder if that means, yep, I'll bet it does. We're almost there, just like I told you. Come on now, follow me. Once again, he bounded off. Howie, who was as endlessly full of energy as a rechargeable battery, was quick to follow. Chester and I lagged behind. By the time we caught up with him, they had found what Dog had been looking for all this time. Through an opening in the trees, we made out a large house standing in an open field. Its spires were silhouetted against the purple sky. Its windows were dark, but for one, which quivered with a yellow light, it seemed like something from another time and place. When he saw it, Chester gasped. I bet you never thought you'd see that in the middle of the woods, Dog said. Ain't it a sight? It looks like a castle, said Howie. Or a cathedral, I said. We turned to Chester for his response, but there was none. None other than a look of sheer horror on his face, that is. Come on, Dog said. Let's go closer. No, Chester cried. Oh, come on, Dog said. Don't start that chicken stuff again. It isn't that, Chester stuttered. He looked up at the sky. It had grown cloudier, but the light of the moon was still strong enough to see its power. I'm tired, that's all. I think maybe we should go back to camp. Do you know the way, Dog? Dog frowned. Well, sure, but don't you want to see the house? We've come all this way. He turned to Howie and yawned in spite of himself. You want to see it, don't you, Howie? He's stalling, Chester whispered to me. We've got to get back to camp. We don't have much time until midnight. And the last thing we want to do is go near that house. Anywhere but that house. Why, I asked. What are you talking about? But Chester couldn't answer because Dog and Howie were looking at us for decision. I don't know about you, but I'm beat, Chester said. What do you say we try to get some rest? Then we can go see the house and then go back to camp. Dog yawned again. Well, okay, he said. I wouldn't mind setting down these weary bones for a spell. It looks like there's some shelter over there under some leaves. Is that alright with you, little fella? Howie stretched his wide mouth, trying to make his yawn as big as Dog's, I think. Sure, he said. As we settled in, I tried not to be hurt by the fact that Howie cuddled up to Dog's side instead of mine. Chester didn't allow me any time for hurt feelings, however. As soon as Dog is asleep, he whispered, we grab Howie and run. Nighty night, he said to Dog and Howie, who curled up several feet away from us. Nighty night, Howie said. Dog grumbled something I couldn't make out. It might have been nighty night, but garbled in some indefinable macho way. Well, I thought, as I looked up through the leaves and the broken patterns of stars and clouds above me, here I am, middle-aged and having an adventure. It wasn't quite what I'd had in mind when Mr. Monroe had suggested an overnight camping trip, but I was sleeping under the stars, and there was no denying that an adventure was what I was having. I wondered about Mr. Monroe then. What kind of adventure was he having? I shuddered as I thought about it, and wondered how long it would take for Dog to go to sleep. Looking in his direction, I saw his eyes shining in the dark. It seemed the moon was forever reflecting in them. He blinked when he saw me looking at him. I swallowed hard. Having trouble sleeping, I asked. I always do, he said. This old boy of mine's got so many breaks and bruises in it that something's always aching. Don't worry about me. I'll just rest while you all sleep. I don't mind. Great, Chester muttered. Then to Dog he said, would anything help you sleep? Dog thought a moment. A doggy bone softened in warm milk, he said at last. I was ready to forgive him for anything when he said it, but then it occurred to me that even Al Capone, the most notorious gangster of them all, probably liked his milk and cookies now and again. We're a little short on milk, Chester said. How about a lullaby? Harold, sing to him the song about Dinah in the kitchen. Soft and low, Harold, soft and low. I was about to open my mouth in song when the words froze in my throat. There was someone out there. I heard the crackling of branches, voices whispering in the dark. Chester, did you hear that I hissed? Of course, Chester said. The spirits are walking to the devil's alarm. Midnight is upon us. The sooner we get this clown to sleep, the better. Sing, Harold. I opened my mouth to sing again, but was stopped this time by Dog. To tell you the truth, he said, what would help me get to sleep better than a song is a story. Yeah, Howie said. That's what we need. A story. Just think, if we were back at the campfire with the Monroes, we'd be telling ghost stories. Tell us a ghost story, Pop. Well, I don't know, Chester said. The leaves about us stirred in the wind. A branch slapped somewhere off to my left. A scary story, Dog said. You're good at that, Chester. If you want me to go to sleep, you better tell me a scary story. His words sounded like a threat, like he knew that we knew. If you want me to go to sleep, he said. I looked at Chester, whose eyes were focused on the house in the distance. The quivering yellow light faded and went out. The house was dark and still. All right, Chester said. I'll tell you a story. A story of St. George's Day. A true story. One that started in Transylvania and ended right here. Here, I said, feeling my hair begin to rise. Boy, my hair was really getting a workout that night. It is the history of a vampire rabbit named Bunnicula, Chester went on. The little known but true story of a race of creatures who brought terror wherever they roamed and passed on each generation the secrets of their evil ways. I get it, said Howie. This is a story of a hare with dark roots. Oh wow, that was a really interesting adventure with Chester, Howie, and them as they got deeper into the forest. What did you think, little zookeeper? I like that part too. We'll see you in the next adventure, okay? And we'll see you in the next adventure, here with Wayne Reads. I'm Wayne Skellington, and it has been a pleasure telling this tale with you today. Bye-bye.